At 3:30, we had Nebraska, who's 4-1, traveling to Maryland, who's also 4-1. Nebraska favored by 6.5 on the Big Ten Network. Probably one of the more underrated games of the 3:30 window. I think a lot of the ranked games are going to get attention. This is a really good game that's going to be flying under the radar. Dylan Raiola has gone 118 to 159, thrown for 1,331 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Emmett Johnson's had 84 carries for 474 yards and 7 touchdowns, and Ja'Cory Barney Jr.'s had 23 catches for 348 yards and 3 touchdowns. Malik Washington is going 110 to 183, thrown for 1,257 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Dejuan Williams has had 59 carries for 209 yards and a touchdown, and Octavian Smith Jr. has had 19 catches for 324 yards. Nebraska's 2-1 against Maryland all time. Last game to go to Maryland in 2023. Nebraska's 1-0 when traveling to Maryland, but they are 1-0 in one-possession football games. Loxley, as the head coach of Maryland, is 1-1 against Nebraska. Matt Rule, as the head coach of Nebraska, is 0-1 against the Terrapins. Again, big game for both teams. You're talking about, again, I was talking about this earlier with Illinois, right? You're talking about really a fourth spot is open in the Big Ten. Thanks to Penn State falling apart, this is an excellent opportunity if you are one of those other teams, right? Like Illinois is the obvious one. Michigan is another one people bring up. USC is the one that people mention, but I'd like to argue Nebraska and Maryland, as well as Washington, are very much still in that same conversation as who's going to be that fourth team. Nebraska's schedule, I said at the beginning of the year, worked out very nicely for them to go 10-2. I marked 2 losses at the beginning of the year: the Michigan game and the Penn State game. Again, that is going to be a massive game for a lot of teams. If Nebraska and Penn State both are sitting at 2 losses heading into that game, there is an excellent chance that could be for a college football playoff spot. Nebraska's 4-1. They're traveling on the road to a Maryland team that is also 4-1. Nebraska's schedule is, again, very nice. They do not play another ranked team down the stretch. But I will circle 3 games on their schedule that I think are really important. They have to go 2-1 in. And it's this one. They play USC in a couple weeks, and they go on the road to Penn State. You've got to win 2 of those 3 games, I think, to make the college football playoffs. Obviously, you cannot mess up in any of the other ones. Maryland messed up in a game that they should have won. That is a game that they should have had against Washington last week. They were up 22-0, and they let Washington come all the way back to take a 24-20 win. Absolute heart-wrenching loss if you're Maryland. But you got to shake it off. You got to find a way to win games. It really hurts because, again, you still have 3 ranked teams on the schedule. You still have a game against Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan still on that schedule that you're going to have to win if you're Maryland. Now you're going to go 2-1 in that stretch instead of 1-2. Like I said, you just had to beat one of those teams. This is a game you cannot afford to lose if you're Maryland because of how hard that schedule is. Nebraska, this is a game you cannot afford because, well, I mean, you could afford to lose it, but you're then going to have to win out if you're Nebraska. I think this is going to be a really interesting back-and-forth affair. One of the more underrated quarterback versus quarterback matchups of the day, Raiola versus Washington, should be a lot of fun. I think Maryland bounces back. That was a heartbreaking way to lose last week against Washington. They're at home. And yes, this is a good Nebraska team. I think whoever wins this game is going to be putting themselves into a very interesting playoff conversation. And whoever loses is putting themselves in a bad spot. But I think Maryland finds a way to win this one. Give me the Terrapins at home to make the playoff race a little bit more interesting. Give me the Terrapins to win and the Terrapins to cover.